Today we're talking about a player who I like because I really appreciate experimental type players and players who really put in the work and do what they can do to win while at the same time having kind of a flair. And, you know, again, I could be talking about just a bunch of different players in different games, and I'd like to get to that at some point. But right now I'm talking about Infiltration from Korea. The reason that I like this guy, well, there are a few reasons. Let me just say that. In general, I really appreciate players who are experimental. That's my thing in fighting games, is to be as experimental as can be, and to come up with godlike new technology and tell everybody about it. It's something that I love doing, and I really feel like that's what Infiltration is all about. He is a really talented player. He's got great reads. He has a very, very versatile play style. He can be playing, you know, super rushdown craziness, or he can play kind of like mid-range game, or he can play super lame, and I think that that's really cool. He's also a huge troll. He is a dick when it comes to games. It's awesome. It's awesome, and I got plenty of examples. Don't even worry about it. About how like rude and how much of an asshole he can be. It's awesome. But I'm gonna start off with Street Fighter 4. As you can see, that's hopefully up on your screen right now. This is Combo Fiend, and it's Infiltration, picking Gouken. So Gouken is a character that some people have slept on for a long, long time. The first time I heard anybody thought that he was even decent was back at EVO, when I faced against Hyro, and he actually beat me in tournament, and he said he thinks his character is legit, and he only got better in 2012. And Infiltration, I've talked with him about this character. He thinks that this character is literally an A-tier character, that he's that good, and he gets slept on. And I think the great thing about him selecting Gouken in this match, which was in top 8, is that he has a character that he has clearly spent the time with to figure stuff out. Here he is in Gouken versus Oni, of all matchups. But like, who among you has ever seen this before? Probably almost none. And so for him to go Gouken against Oni rather than Akuma or Hakan or Ryu, who he also plays, just shows that he has this mind for research and the ability to look into matchups and figure out all the little things that would make it advantage for Gouken or for Akuma or for Ryu or for Hakan, and he picks among them. And he actually does really well against Combo Fiend in this match. I mean, you can kind of see why. He has Gouken, which, you know, has a really strong fireball game, stronger than I think people give him credit for. And, you know, he has great anti-airs, he has good footsies. He's up against a character who kind of has Gouken syndrome in that he can't deal huge damage from like max range footsies. He kind of has to be closer than that. They're both sort of like that. So he has a character that's sort of like Oni, except for maybe a little bit better. And he's just using it really, really well. There's the reads that I mentioned at the start. He has these amazing reads and timings. But yeah, okay, he gets out of there. The other reason that I like this guy is that he goes with characters that I think he goes with characters specifically. Oh yeah, I want to show this. Yeah, you see how fast Gouken recovers right there? I'm telling you, I think this is a huge reason for why he's selected this character. Gouken actually has faster fireball recovery than Ryu, but the other thing about it is that his fireball animation doesn't extend his hitbox as far as Ryu's does. So whereas Ryu's kind of, his hands are out there, you know, they're significantly farther than they actually look like in terms of the hitbox. But Gouken is the opposite, and basically he can just throw fireballs to his heart's content. Yeah, and Combo Fiend lands on top of that one. The other thing about this match, or I should say, the really impressive thing about this is not the reads. You know, lots of people have reads, lots of people have spacing and timings. It's just the fact that he goes with his character selection this far into the tournament. It's I don't know if he's played Gouken before this, but I don't think he had on stream at least. And you know, just really, really, really makes it work because he's put in enough of the time to do this. And I'm gonna let this run until the end, because at the end there's something that I think is pretty sweet. But I guess we'll just let it play until then. In the meantime, he has great footsies. Wow, look at that! the Fierce Fireball FADC toward, because he knew there was going to be this, and then he's just playing footsies with a character, like I said, that I just think has stronger buttons when it comes to that range. Buttons that don't lead to a ton of damage, it's true, but that, nevertheless, I think are stronger than Oni's. So he's in this really good situation. You know, he has to play defensively, which is, you know, it's Gouken's negative. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say he had gone for that frame trap setup before, and it didn't work. Oh yeah, that's right. So I think another reason that he picks this character is that people don't have much familiarity with him. The EX Demon Flip is pretty abusable on, you know, if you know what to do about it. You can actually blow him up. But oh yeah. Okay, so go back. This is what I'm talking about how he's a huge troll. So here he is. He's about to 2-0 Combo Fiend. And what does he want to kill with? EX counter. He just brings out EX for the first time. Here, go back. Yeah, go back. So for the first time all set, he brings out EX counter. And why? Like, why would he do this? He knows he has better buttons. He just wants to be a dick about it. He's like, I think you're going to do it here, and how sick would it be if I actually got this to work out? You would look like such an ass. It didn't work, unfortunately, but, you know, so he goes back to the game that sort of brought him here. But you can see that he is kind of a rude asshole when it comes to games, which I love. So he's a really fun kind of troll sort of dude to watch.
Here we go. This is the start.
Okay, fine. It doesn't really matter like when we are in this, because it's too many matches and I don't want to run the whole thing. Unless I just happen to drone on for the entire time, which is totally a possibility. As I was saying, this is a match that I don't think many people know, and certainly Dominion doesn't know it. You can see from the way he's playing. Let's talk about those fireballs that Gouken is throwing out there constantly. Like I said before in the Oni match, Gouken actually has really strong fireballs. They're a little bit slower on startup than Ryu's, but they are quicker on the release. And if he charges them up, his release is faster, even, you know, he's charging it up, sure, but the actual release is a little faster. And he also doesn't have that big ol' extended hitbox at the end of his fist that really gets some other characters into trouble.
I just want to mention to people watching on stream, the choppiness of the actual video is, it's the playback, it's not the stream. So it's literally me playing the video. That's just how it looks on my computer right
All right,
now, so.
Whatever.
Okay.
That's cool. So it's that fireball game that he wants to outlame Dominion with. And this is another thing that I think is cool about Infiltration. So whereas he had this mid-range sort of style against Oni, and, you know, he was playing active footsies, and occasionally he went in this set, for the most part, he just lames out. And if you can lame out Dominion, I mean, you're pretty decent at laming out. By laming out, I just mean, you know, playing this distance game, throwing lots of projectiles. Wow, dude, it's so slow. And that's not easy against Dominion, because that's what he's known for. That's how he plays Street Fighter, and it's how he plays Marvel. It's just how he plays in general. It's how he plays Cross Tekken too. And yet here is Infiltration in a money match, doing really, really well in this exact style. He does go in occasionally, but the other reason I feel that he picks Gouken, in addition to the fireball fact, yeah, right? Okay, so actually, Gouken's fireballs are FADC-able for a longer period of time. Yeah. I'm telling you, nobody knows about this character. Right? Nobody knows. But he's actually really good. So it's the fireballs. It's also the fact that he has a nice little exploit that he can do when Guile does a sweep. And if my notes are correct, we're going to see that eventually. I'm on stream now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess you'll see the fact that it is actually just the stream replay screwing up. Yeah. He can do this thing with Guile's sweep. Most characters can do, you know, FADC, can do focus, dash toward through the second hit, or just, you know, focus, release, whatever, for a little bit of damage. And if you focus toward, most people just get throw. But Gouken, his dash is fast enough, and his close medium punch is fast enough, that he can actually do dash toward, close medium punch, link crouching fierce, EX rush punch into huge damage, then there's great meaty situation. So what he's doing in going for this pick is trying to neutralize Guile's fireball game and also one of Guile's important pokes. And and he actually really does that well. But I just want to emphasize how interesting and unusual it is to pick a character like Gouken, who seemingly everybody sleeps on, and do enough research with this character that you know what you can do exactly in each matchup. And again, he picks Gouken in this match, even though he has Akuma, he has Ryu, he has Hakan, he has these different characters, but he goes with Gouken because he's done enough practice and kind of theorizing about the game and how it should go, that he knows that it's Guile in this matchup. And does Korea have a Guile to Daiminion's level? Again, I think that Daiminion is probably the best Guile player in the world. My guess is that they don't, but if they even have somebody who is competent, somebody who we can kind of game plan against, then that's really, really useful. Yeah, I mean, you can see he's totally blowing him up, right? As I said, in this whole set, Daiminion wins one round legit, and the second round is a super troll. And I don't know that we're going to get to that because I just don't want to let this run for a million years. But you should really watch this whole set because it's essentially like a how-to in picking a character that somebody doesn't expect, but that you know is tailored almost perfectly to the matchup. And in watching this matchup, I don't know, like what does Guile even do? Like I've been thinking about this matchup. In a matchup where a character has significantly better fireballs, when he gets in, he's much more damaging than if Guile were to get in. He has, tricks to get through things like sweep. His dash is fast enough that he can do focus through fireballs, even focus through, he does this a couple times, focus through a stand fierce and then throw on the other side. I mean, he has this really strong matchup against Guile, and I don't think anybody knew. I certainly didn't know. I mean, I've played this match, and I didn't think about it in such a way as I really understood what was going on, and I think it's really cool that Infiltration took the time, played this matchup out, or at least game planned for this match, and does a really, really great job. All right, what's the score here? I can't even see.
6.
Oh, 6-0. Yeah. So at this point, we've played through basically the full set. You can see from Daiminion's play that he is playing totally differently now than at the start. He does not. Yeah, look at this. How often do you see Daiminion do that? He had the ability to set up a zone from far away, even with the life lead, and he didn't do it. He tried to dash up, dash up, dash up to put pressure on Gouken. You just don't see Daiminion play like that very often. It's because he's had to deal with this matchup that Infiltration has set up for him because of the research that Infiltration has done, the experimentation that he's done, the game planning that he's done. He's done really, really well. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, like obviously I knew that works. It's just an unusual application of that kind of thing. He can come in here for the kill. Is this the troll round? I don't really remember.
I don't know what he does as a troll.
Oh yeah, that's right. He spends all his bar for no reason. He's really trying to get a counter out of it. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he was really trying to get up to that range, into that little footsie range. Whereas we saw earlier, he has gotten a counter a couple of times. He just throws this meter away. Whatever. I'm so confident that I'm going to just troll you for right now, and you're going to have to deal with it, and I'm going to win anyway, which he does.
Trying to be a good stream producer here.
So, I don't really want to spend that much time on this one. It's mostly just important because you recognize that this was Grand Finals from Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2012 at NCR a month ago. Against Ricky Ortiz, he goes with Akuma. Ricky ends up winning. And, I guess we'll just watch this just for a match or two, just so you can see. Ricky ends up taking it.
Well, he must really take Ricky seriously then, huh?
He totally takes Ricky seriously. Absolutely. I mean, at the time, I don't know that I had seen him play the character that he's going to play that we're going to show after this one. He comes in here, obviously he's played Akuma against Rufus many times. I don't know that he's played against Ricky. I actually feel like he has played against Ricky. He has before,
yeah, sure he has.
Right? Ricky, of course, is a super smart player and definitely one of my favorite players on the continent. He is extremely smart. He has amazing reactions. He doesn't get flustered very easily at all. And when Ricky Ortiz goes into crazy Mad Beast mode, I like him over everybody in the world. The question is he going to go into that Mad Beast mode, or is he just going to be amazing like usual? There's a difference between being amazing and being just like, nobody beats me at all. he's currently amazing, and he ends up beating Infiltration. All right, so in the next set, he plays against Ricky again just this past weekend at Seasons Beatings SummerSlam, and he doesn't go Akuma. In fact, he goes with Ryu, and you can see that in the intervening month, he really did his homework, and he really tried to figure out how he could beat Ricky Ortiz. Clearly, he takes Ricky Ortiz seriously to the point that he goes into the lab and he picks Ryu. And I know that he's played Ryu before, but he tried Akuma all throughout this set. He doesn't switch away from Akuma in this grand final set. He just runs his character until the end.
So you want me to go to the Ricky Ortiz one right here?
Yes, please. Anyway, he's playing Ryu, and the reason, as you'll see soon, is you know, he likes Ryu anti-airs a little bit better. He likes Ryu on defense a little bit better, which, you know, maybe you might not expect, but it actually totally turns out that way. He plays this matchup exactly as he wants to play. So we've seen him already play this kind of mid-range style when he was playing against Combo Fiend, then this very lame keep away style until the end when he got crazy about things against Dominion, and then he goes back to this kind of mid-range sort of style against Ricky Ortiz at Seasons Beatings, as you can see. So he's really trying to just sort of play at this mid-range, and I like a lot of what he does. He has sort of a different take on this match than other Ryus. Very, very jab heavy, as you can see. It's kind of a hallmark of the Korean players. I've seen Laugh play this match in much the same way, and again, it really works out, despite the fact that Ricky has a ton of Ryu practice, or at least had when John Choi was still playing Ryu in Street Fighter 4. But Infiltration makes this work because he has a slightly different style. It's almost like he went home and watched how Ricky played. Excuse me. And didn't just bring a Ryu versus Rufus. He brought a Ryu versus Ricky Ortiz, which is a little bit different, as you can see. There's actually this, actually I don't know if it's now, but there's this godlike thing that he does when he's caught in the corner against Ricky Ortiz's pressure. I don't know, let's see. No, I guess not. But yeah, so he's just playing this mid-range business, you know, he bringing out the wake-ups because he's not too worried about things and he has to make a comeback anyway at this point. I think he actually ends up doing it, if I recall correctly. Trying to play those footsies. He knows, so again, he knows who Ricky Ortiz is, and he knows that Ricky has one of the best footsie games in the business, and some of the best reactions in the world. And so he's just like trying to stand outside of that range if he can. You know, Ricky gets in there. Okay, well, yeah, I think it's, oh no, maybe it's not now? Alright, well anyway, at some point he does this sick thing in the corner. Ooh, so pretty! Frame traps. I think that's it. Oh, not quite? Ooh, I totally forgot about that. He does Fireball FADC toward Fireball, and I think that's inescapable. I don't really know what Rufus does in that situation.
I think he saw the FADC, so he was scared to jump and wasn't expecting to
that's very possible. Yeah, James, I don't know if you can hear James. James says that he saw the FADC toward, and Ricky saw the FADC toward, and maybe thought that Infiltration was expecting Ricky to jump, so he just threw out a Fireball instead and got the chip, which would make sense. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, whatever. I guess we'll let this run. I just wanted to show that he has this game plan. So he has different styles that he can play, but even more impressively, and the reason that I like him for the most part, is that he has this style where he'll pick whatever he needs to pick within the confines of the game to get the job done. And whether it's switching characters, you know, we've already seen him play Gouken, Akuma, and Ryu. Or whether it's changing up playstyles, or whether it's going home and seemingly like watching the tape, or at least thinking about things in his own head as to how they went last time he played Ricky, and like somebody said on stream, Ricky Ortiz beat him in Evo as well, so he has this history against Ricky that's not so great, and he's clearly gone home and really done the homework, and I think that that's awesome. I think that that's a thing that more players need to emulate. People just bring in what they think matchups are going to be, or they just bring in, you know, their own style, and they think, you know, I'm just going to force this on you. And in some cases that works, and some of the best players do play like that. But another way to play is this reactive kind of style where you take yourself into the lab and you really see what you can do about situations. Man, I really wanted to see that thing in the corner. I don't really know when that's coming up. But, oh, actually, maybe it's right now. Come on, do it right now. It's so sick. Maybe not. Alright. Whatever, I'll just tell you what happened. Oh, what? Crouching jab from a million years away? So what happens is that Ricky Ortiz has him in the corner. Ricky does EX Messiah, light kick ender, FADC to ward, but Infiltration has done enough game planning here that he knows exactly what to do in that situation. He just does crouching fierce because Rufus is actually not plus frames after he does that, after he does a dash toward. He's a little bit safer than if he dashes back, but he's still not plus enough that he can press a button safely afterward, and he actually gets counter hit for his troubles. So Infiltration has enough matchup knowledge and has done enough research here that he knows exactly what the counters are for particular situations. So it's not just kind of like some broad-based thing, which is what you normally see when somebody goes to a counter match. They'll pick a match because they know in general what a character wants to do, and they believe that that style is good enough to overcome the other person who knows his character well enough, but you just think that the matchup is bad enough that you'll win anyway. That's not what he's done. Oh, was it right there?
No, not yet. Actually, it looks like it's coming close.
I don't know, man. I don't really remember when it is.
Yeah, here it is.
Oh, here it is?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, that
He just killed him. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it goes 2-1. It's not free.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. We don't have to watch the whole thing. I'd rather go to a break. But it's just to watch it yourself. You'll see this happen, and know that if you want to do this kind of counter match play or counter pick play, that you can't just go about it knowing what the matchup is in general. You really have to game plan for not just what the intricacies of the matchup are, but how the opponent person that you want to play against is going to play, or how you expect them to play. And that's something that Infiltration, I think, does really, really well. You saw him against Dominion. You saw him against Combo Fiend, picking characters that people don't see very often. Again, you see it here in Ryu Rufus, which is, of course, not an unusual character, but it's a character that he tends not to play that much. But even though he hasn't played it that much, he still knows exactly what to do.